Our clients typically come to us for a functional aesthetic. They love the way we create comfortable, inviting interiors that is actually functional. We really want our clients' homes to feel personal. We also want them to feel very organized. So we go through the steps of making sure we know where everything goes. And I think we're innovative in a lot of the furniture and/or the space allocations. My name is Regan Baker, and I am the principal at Regan Baker Design. Today we're in my house. It's 1,800 square feet, and it is a mid-century style home. We are in Forest Knolls, which is a suburb in San Francisco. It's very foggy sometimes, but it's also very lush with greenery. Our house was built in 1961. When we bought the house, we knew that we needed to add square footage. We completely gutted it, including the exterior. I was really wanting to figure out a way to create something interesting with a very basic box. We did hire a friend of ours to consult on a lot of these waterproofing details, but they actually did help me come up with the concepts of where we're at on the exterior. So the house used to have 2 garages, and this side of the house became our entry. This is a fun tile pattern that we use with fire clay, and then we painted the door actually the same color as the tile, just to create that overall contained mid-century color blocking feel. We are in the entry. When you walk in, we have a catch-all, a drawer for everything. We really wanted to create a place where everybody could each have a hook and dump all of their stuff, a place for you to sit and put your shoes on, but also a place to hide coats. So we're in the hallway. We have a bathroom and a laundry room here that functions for this lower level, as well as the storage that we needed. Functional storage is always key. So this was actually a carve into the garage that just worked naturally because we have utilities on the other side of this wall that just allowed this millwork to be here. We're in the lower level bathroom, but also laundry room. I love the concept and the idea of the kids being able to come in from the garage from a workout and just dumping their clothes into the laundry room. We have this antler chandelier pendant, and I loved how funky and quirky it was. I love terrazzo, and I needed it somewhere in our house, and because it's a mid-century material, it's from Concrete Collaborative, but I love that it has those peach tones and gold tones and black tones. We're now in the family room / guest / office. So one of the things that we are typically asked is a very multifunctional room. I wanted the visual when you walk in of this actual door to bifold and basically bring you and draw you out. The view back here is more eucalyptus forests. This sofa we chose is actually a sleeper sofa, which folds out. And my family, when they come over, stay here. This actual cabinet is an office that hides the office. And then of course we have this cabinet that is the TV cabinet, where a lot of video games are played these days. This poof is from Nikki Kehoe, one of my favorite vendors, an interior design firm. We also have this rug from Woven, who did all of my other rugs in my house. I personally wanted an exposed staircase and no wall here, so the house felt like a larger house, but also, again, that kind of consistency between being able to hear and see our kids and family in one area was important. This is our primary bathroom. Because it's so small, really visually I wanted to create something that actually aesthetically looked great, functional art in a way, but also made the space feel larger. The window up above was placed to basically go wall to wall so that it would feel larger and have more depth, even the shelf at the shower. What's nice about this is you can actually open the window but have privacy as well. So that's another reason why I had it up high. The tile actually, it goes floor to ceiling to create this sense of depth and overall expansiveness. The pattern creates a texture as well, which when you add texture anywhere, it is going to give that sense of depth. And when you have it in large scale, it becomes an artistic form, expanding this space, making it feel larger than it is and giving it depth because you have this amazing Ann Sachs Popham tile. I actually did a copper finish in here. A lot of people do not like mixing metals. I do. It doesn't bother me. And so I really wanted to highlight, again, the use of finding something that patinas over time. So copper, of course, will patina over time. These pieces have patinaed. It's nice, it's got that little bronzy pieces. The fact that our bathroom is not very large, I created this shelf that's made out of the same Carrara marble as the counters to create another surface for two people. We paired it with also a 2x2 ceramic tile on this side just to create some texture and interest. When you have a lot of stone in your house, too much of it can be a bad thing. So creating that warmth and overall feel with texture and pairing it in a more mosaic pattern is what I thought would be a great idea. This house does not have forced air or heat. We did radiant heat in our floors just because another way to become more efficient with our energy, but also the space. These days you do not need AC, maybe for like a week of the year. And so the idea behind maximizing space became more important than actually a functional of a heat being needed over for 1 week. So we're in the master bedroom. The first thing you'll notice is the Portatello wallpaper. My grandmother's a seamstress and she is near and dear to my heart, and I really wanted a space in our house where we could really, in a way, honor her. When I first saw this from Portatello wallpaper, I was like, this is perfect because it reminds me of my grandmother. I love the fact that this headboard is actually a custom headboard by Jovinus here, a vendor in the city that we work with quite often. The idea behind this is there's not a ton of space in this room and we needed nightstands, and so something that architecturally would have a mid-century modern nod with these like channeled tufting on the headboard was definitely something that was relating to the slats on the front of the house, to the stairs, and that I really wanted to connect in the feeling as well and bring here. The walnut is also another consistent finish that I use throughout. Again, a very mid-century modern feel. And this is Workstead light fixtures that I also am obsessed with. They're lights, they're artisanal light fixtures in New York City. Again, we carried floor to ceiling, beautiful furniture-like cabinetry that houses all of our clothes. So we have a dresser, but this is all of our hanging clothes and shoes. So this is where our laundry baskets live, as well as my jewelry and a few more hanging. But again, an extension of closet space, but the adjacency to the bathroom was actually a great way to expand that small bathroom. So this is the bar. When you first walk up from the stairs, this is the first thing you see, and I really wanted it to be a moment that said who we were. We enjoy having a nice cocktail or a glass of wine or whatnot at night, and I knew that I needed to cover up the seam in the back behind where the fridge and the wall is, and I also wanted some separation between, we have a bathroom here for privacy, just to create something that's more substantial than just a corner. And so this is an amazing piece by Fine Root here in San Francisco, a vendor who we use quite a bit for furniture. So there's this bar here, just for some detail, but if there was an earthquake, they fell off, it would it would not be a problem. That's one of my favorite pieces. So when you walk up, this is kind of a fun little thing that everybody says, ooh, what's behind there? And it's a bar. We're in the kitchen. This wall is actually designed to literally look like a blank white wall with some details, of course, of the handles. I wanted this to feel like furniture, like a built-in piece. This is the refrigerator, freezer, appliance garage, and then there's another cabinet, and then all of this is just easy access storage for pantry. This is a bar cabinet, but it's hiding the electrical for this. Forbes and Lomax, which is one of my favorite brands for light switch plates. They did this in lacquered brass, and they have toggle switches and knobs, so we did that for dimming capabilities. And then we married that finish on all of our hardware. So all of this is from O&G, beautiful hardware. And the appliance garage, which is one of my favorite things, is really fun because it extends the kitchen, which is an incredible place to do a lot of smoothies, make coffee every morning, and the toaster, but everything can literally be shut away. The hood is also plaster, similar to the fireplace, but it also mimicked the shapes of the fireplace on the other side. So there's just a simple sheetrock hood that actually matches the wall, just because I didn't want to highlight it. The actual shelf here is one of my favorite things because I don't have to open up a door to basically put up my dishes that I use every day. And so what's nice about it is my dishwasher's right here, and literally I just do this. Waterworks is one of my favorite brands. This is a burnished oiled rub bronze that doesn't patina as much as oiled rub bronze. However, I still love the patina. Everything, when you put into a home, you actually have sun damage, you have wear and tear, and to me it does always feel a little odd whenever your actual plumbing finishes are staying pristine clean and they don't have any wear to them. So I always Really like the idea of providing an actual finish wear well over time. It's a very timeless approach that we like to take. This bench is actually one of my favorite things. I always wanted a place to put our record player. We love vinyl as a family and really wanted this place to actually accentuate that love of our record player. And this bench was really kind of necessary because our table is so small. The idea of being able to bring this table over and provide a seat, as well as not having to bring an additional chair over. I love how this turned out. Cookbook storage, but also vinyl storage on the bottom here. And then we carried the backsplash all the way over to the wall. So it really felt like this room was one big space. We're in the living room. The living room is adjacent to the kitchen and the dining room. We wanted to basically open up the space. What we did is, you'll see here these slats on the wall, mimic the actual slats on the exterior of the house. But when you walk into the living room, we have this built-in cabinet that one of our favorite go-to millworker made for us. It's for Ukiah, and it slides just because I would say in a mid-century style form. That's very much a common detail you would see, but it also saves space. So the fireplace is actually plaster. What we did is we actually pulled it out to articulate this massing, but because we wanted to create some storage on each side, I wanted to really pull this out to make it a feature. So this is plaster that matches the Benjamin Moore white dove walls. And then on the inside, we painted it black just so that it would recede and go away. We use Benjamin Moore throughout. It's called White Dove. It's actually one of my go-to favorites because it has the warmth. It's got a little bit of yellow, more taupe into it rather than a very stark white. And in our interiors, we want to have that warm feeling. And because we had so much white walls, that white needed to be warm and not super stark and cold. So on the right side of the fireplace, I created this awesome walnut cabinet because I wanted to display my objects that I've curated over time. One of the pieces that we designed around was this Sergio Rodriguez chair. It definitely has that mid-century vibe, sets the tone. The rest of the furniture are a bit more contemporary because I like to play off that juxtaposition, but the actual sofa is from Lawson Finney. Overall, mid-century modern is pretty low and stylistically wise, but also because of the placement of the kitchen to the living room, I wanted it to feel very airy still and open and not too blocked off. Because of the large windows, I didn't want stacks of drapery, and so the shades actually are integrated into the ceiling and they just come down. And it really is only for privacy at night. We don't use them during the day, so I didn't want to emphasize that. These are actually slats that we put on the front of the building. Because I have two big rectangular large windows, I wanted to break them up but also have some privacy. Of course, I'd have loved if these were actually mobile, but to save money, we just created a stagnant system where these were actually the pieces of wood that were used around our house for sensibility and also color. So this is the landing between my kids' rooms, my daughter and my sons. Richard Lang is actually the artist behind me. He does amazing work. So this is my daughter Amelia's room. She loves horses, as you can see. This wallpaper started the concept. It's one horse heads and then it's basically mirrored 4 times and then it creates a pattern, which I appreciated. You can really zone in on an actual one piece of that pattern instead of having this like overly themed bedroom. And then your art can be transitional. One of the other things is I like to design around rugs. This Moroccan rug was actually vintage, and this really kind of jump-started the palette for this room. I think one of the fun things about this in my kids' rooms is I treated them as grown-ups. So I knew that they needed a desk in the future, so we built in a desk. They have full height cabinetry that maximizes the entire top of the storage so we don't have headers you have to go into and around. So that's maximized storage, and then an adult chair with like an ottoman so they can have a place to sit and do their homework in a different area, whatnot. To maximize the feeling of height in our house, we actually created 8-foot doors instead of typical 6'8". And there was only 5 doors in our house, so it wasn't a huge deal breaker in terms of cost, but it really makes a huge difference, in my opinion. So we're in my son's room, Everett's room. He wanted a dark darker room. I was a little worried about that, but I think it turned out great. We used a Benjamin Moore ice formations. The wall mural that we used behind his headboard feels cosmic. It feels like it's in outer space. They're twins, so we actually mimic the room so they wouldn't get upset or think that one was favored over the other. And so they each have a desk, just like my daughter, he has shelves. And then we also maximized storage as well in here to allow storage for up here for easy access. No dresser and cozy rug, blue tones as well, and basically very neutral but very cozy. We're standing in my kids' bathroom, but it's also a shared guest bathroom. So I wanted it to be special, but also it's really kind of a focal point. When you walk up the stairs, you actually see this wallpaper. So Portatello painted this. It's a hand-painted wallpaper. Their artisans are amazing, but they did all of the wall. And so in order to continue to appreciate it, it actually is a fabric that's hand-painted on as well. So I wanted to basically continue that when you are in the room, so you really feel like you're surrounded by art. And we paired it with the basic tile for that texture play. Also in terms of ease of cleaning, we carry the walnut through like we did and had in the kitchen, as well as a Carrara marble, something that you would actually see most likely in a mid-century modern home. We also used Waterworks in here. This is also that living finish, burnished brass. And we did a wall mounted, since we knew 2 kids were gonna be using this space. I wanted to maximize counter space. Using a wall mounted faucet is actually one of the best ways to save space. And in there, this is also Waterworks as well, matching set. The transom window here is actually similar to the window we put in downstairs. What I love about it is it shows the actual trees. Everywhere you are in the house, you feel like you're in the trees. It feels it's a wider space or bigger space because we did the window wall to wall. I would summarize the end result of this project as I love my house. I don't ever want to sell it because we've definitely done a great job. Overall, I'm very, very happy with the end result. And I love it when people come over and say, wow, this is incredible.